Is Dark Sun coming to 5th edition D&D? We're going to find out next. Good day, class. I'm Mark.
I'm Gonzo.
If you're new to Dungeon Class, make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you find out about new content every day. And now, the show.
It's a world of fire and sand. The crimson sun scorches the life from anything that crawls or flies. Storms of sand scour the foliage from the barren ground. Lightning strikes from the cloudless sky. Peals of thunder roll unexplained across the vast tablelands. Even the wind, dry and searing, can kill a man with thirst. This is a land of blood and dust, savagery. Tribes of feral elves sweep out of the sea salt plains to plunder lonely caravans. Winds call to men. Slow suffocation in the sea of silt. Legions of slaves clash over a few bushels of moldering grain. This is Dark Sun.
And doesn't that sound fun?
Yeah.
So, Gonzo, why do we like Dark Sun?
Dark Sun. Well, some of the things we read came straight from the original box set from 2nd edition. This was their quick synopsis of this Dark Sun, which is a different campaign setting than the Forgotten Realms, which we're all kind of used to. Okay. Why do we like it? As you may have heard, if you haven't played Dark Sun at all, if this is new to you in any way, it is very similar to a post-apocalyptic world like the Mad Max Fury Road setting, like Dune, anything that is bereft of resources. Mm-hmm. What I love about the Dark Sun campaign is that it is grittier than regular D&D in a way where everything matters. Mm. There's no water, there's no food, there's no shelter unless you make it, unless you take it. And I think that's just a survival kind of genre that's missing from Forgotten Realms, where you can go to a tavern around every corner, where there's magic shops that sell +1 arrows everywhere. Right. It's completely different. This is all about survival of the fittest.
And this comes to us from 2nd edition.
It does, yeah. It was actually created, I have a whole host of novels that were created by Troy Denning. He's one of the premier creators of Dark Sun. They released it in 2nd edition. They redid it in 4th edition, giving us some more offerings to play. But it has not come to 5th edition yet.
Which brings us to the conversation of what we think that it's quite possible. There's some indications maybe that it is. But let's start with the idea, Gonzo. We've seen some of the stuff come over from past editions into 5th edition. And we have quite a list we came up with a list of campaign settings that we've seen in the past, and some have come over and some haven't. So what are some of the campaign settings that we've
Well, there was 2nd edition was known for its big box sets. I mean, you can probably hold that one up for them to see, but they used to release campaign settings in these boxes, and inside the boxes were adventures. There were maps. This is one of the Dark Sun, the World of Athos map. There were adventure hooks. There was character creation. They did this for many different settings. We listed them. Eberron had a setting. Ravenloft, Spelljammer, Greyhawk, Dragonlance.
Yeah,
that was another one that came around. So there's all kinds of campaign settings, and in 5th edition, we've gotten some of those. We've gotten from Curse of Strahd, we kind of get the Ravenloft setting. You know, you're surrounded by a mist that you can't really escape until you accomplish something like defeating Strahd himself. So it's kind of it's a horror themed setting. We have Ravnica, which came out, which ties into Magic the Gathering. We have Eberron, which just recently came out, just a month ago or so. There hasn't been many other settings, though. Most of the others have been set in Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, and you think about would they come out with a Greyhawk. Well, Greyhawk is just too much like Forgotten Realms, really. And Spelljammer, I mean, that's a possibility. And if you look at the popularity, that's a possibility. But we really kind of think that it may be some indication that Dark Sun may be coming on the horizon. So back in September, Gonzo, you sent out a tweet and you were just kind of threw that out there and said, hey, Wizards, it would be great to have Dark Sun. And that got quite a stir. In fact, Cody from Taking 20, he took it and made a whole entire show on it where he talked about whether or not, because one of the things that came out of the conversation, people were saying, "Oh, wizards wouldn't do that; it's too dark and all this kind of stuff." But Cody he did a good job on his his video. There'll be a link actually to his video to show, and he goes into detail talking about why he thinks that's a silly idea, that it's too dark. Why say that? He explains that no, I think this is fine. I think they definitely could do it, and then they would. And then November 10th, Chris Perkins sent out a tweet which was really cryptic, but in that tweet he talked about, if you like Curse of Strahd, then you'll like what I'm working on next.
Yeah.
So, the first reaction by people I saw, they're like, "Oh, Curse of Strahd, I like Curse of Strahd, I like Ravenloft." But it's like, you really think they're going to come out with more Ravenloft? I mean, it doesn't really make a lot of sense in that respect. I mean, they've already done a reskinned version, which is Curse of Strahd. And they've also done a one-shot, I know they came out with it. So they've come out with quite a bit of Strahd. So where else could they go?
Well, we're hoping it's Dark Sun. We're hoping that this is the edition, or this is coming to D&D 5th edition. And because of some of the things that we've seen, as well as the recent release of the Unearthed Arcana, which gives fighters, rogues, and wizards psionic abilities.
So why does that matter, psionics? Why would you say that?
Yeah, good thing. Part of the allure, I guess, of Dark Sun was almost every character had some kind of psionic ability, bad or good. Even some of the lowly monsters and those kind of things had some level of psionics in them. It was just part of the lore of the Dark Sun world. And I kind of felt when this Unearthed Arcana came out recently with adding psionics to those 3 classes, and there may even be more coming,
right,
I kind of felt it's setting the standard for Dark Sun.
Yeah, one step in that direction.
One step. The other reason that I'm hoping for that is that we have been playing Dark Sun.
Yeah, so as a group, Gonzo, you've been DMing our group in Dark Sun. It's been pretty enjoyable and all that. So maybe you can tell us, how did we go from 2nd edition to 5th edition when they haven't even come out with it yet?
They haven't. It's pretty easy. Now, for me, luckily, I was able to, either I had some of this stuff or I was able to find some of it on eBay, some of the old 2nd edition materials. I mean, we've got, the box set actually came with, the player's handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide, basically, and as well as a first adventure. And then they used to release the adventures in these little cardboard box sets that had extra maps where it was being played. It had the Dungeon Master's Guide for that, and then an adventure in here. Some of them have little booklets with pictures.
That's killer, right?
It was a lot of, pretty cool idea for them to release these basically adventure modules, where we now get a whole adventure module in a book, $50 book.
Right.
These were released in these little box settings, and so you can find those on eBay. But another place you can find Dark Sun and kind of updated for 5th edition is on DM's Guild.
Yeah,
I know we've seen that there too, where someone has taken the time to update the stats for the different monsters and things that you face to 5th edition standards. So it's pretty easy. What I generally do when I DM is I take the bones of something and then I make it work with what I'm comfortable with doing. And that's what I've done with Dark Sun. It's not being word for word. We're not even using a lot of the same races that they use. Things are different in the Dark Sun world, but we're making it a world that's completely different than Forgotten Realms. And in that way is how I'm enjoying it, preparing it as a Dungeon Master. Because I can basically throw anything at you with any number of legs and arms and tentacles, and your characters, even metagaming, don't have any idea what it is.
No.
Because no one else at the table has really played that.
Right.
So it's not like you throw 3 goblins or you throw a Medusa at somebody and they already know, well, okay, I know what that is. I know how to defeat it. This is completely different. Maybe it burrows under. It's a sand shark. We all want a sand shark. Well, you can throw those in Dark Sun where the whole world is made of sand. So it's perfect.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I'll never forget the idea of using an eyeball holding water. That's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah, we've already done that.
That's an image that will stick to me with me for quite a while. All right, Gonzo, I'm kind of getting a feeling that this isn't one of those everyone gathers in a tavern and kind of start to the campaign. Like how would a person start it?
No, if you're doing this kind of gritty survival-like setting, starting in a tavern not only does not really work in this situation, but it wouldn't be as fun or interesting, I think, is some of the things we talked about. So
I don't think they even have taverns.
one of the ones that I think would be an interesting way to start if you want to try Dark Sun in your table is to use gladiators. Gladiators, these different city-states which are ruled by sorcerer kings, their entertainment is gladiators in the middle of a big arenas. And even though it's a bloodthirsty kind of way, those gladiators are kind of trying to earn their freedom by winning over a set of, series of matches over a course of year or even years or whatever. So I think it'd be an interesting way to start a group of players as gladiators. And I think of this: how about everyone creates their characters, and then you say, okay, you've all got your characters, roll initiative, and boom, they're dropped in the middle of a gladiator experience where they're facing a giant monster, right? Something that's big and gigantic with tentacles and arms, and they're fighting. And then during that fight, something happens in the arena where an explosion happens, or maybe a small revolt happens or something, and the gladiators get an opportunity to escape. And then you allow your players to go from there.
Well, that's great.
So you can drop them right into battle.
No, I got
They're which is kind of an interesting way to start anyway. And then they kind of go and try to make their way out into the world and change the way things are in that way.
Yeah, I love movies, some of the best movies, action right from the beginning.
Right away.
And it's kind of tendency, it seems a lot of times, to we gather in a thing, we introduce ourselves, and boom, you're already in a fight. Oh, okay, this is interesting.
Right.
That'd be great.
So that's not meeting in a tavern.
No, it's definitely not that. All right, so what's another idea?
All right, something like out of your world, something where this is actually the way we played, or we've started ours.
Right.
And that is that you allow your players to create characters, whichever books you want to use, but go ahead and use Forgotten Realms races. Go ahead and use, whatever they're doing that may be different than most of what the Dark Sun is. But then you magically transport this group into the Dark Sun setting somewhere. They could be dropped, maybe they angered a powerful drow wizardress or something where she teleports them out and they end up here, or maybe they have crossed a sorcerer or a necromancer or somebody that whisked them away out of his life and into the Dark Sun campaign, or maybe they don't know how they got there. Maybe they have to find that out. But no matter what, it's a great way for you as a DM to not have to really work too hard at explaining the setting.
Right.
Because the players are going to discover the setting as they start playing this Dark Sun campaign, the world of Athos. Because now they're dropped in a place they don't know. There's not a lot of magic shops where there is no inn that'll take you in. You know, armor's made from bone, weapons are made from bone and skin and whatever. They're having there's exhaustion levels. Maybe thirst is a real thing. All these things that they're not used to doing in D&D. It'd be a great way to drop experienced players.
Yeah, I like that idea because you don't have to teach them new races and stuff because the Dark Sun there's some different races and things. You don't have to worry about that. And then as a DM you just compensate for whatever. They have something really weird like a furbolg or something. Right. Really weird.
Yeah.
And if they have
we
that,
know someone who's playing a furbolg.
Yeah. So if you have that, then you just deal with it as a DM. Just adjust things. That makes sense. That's good.
Well, magic is different in the Dark Sun or can be in yours the way depending on how you want to run it. Magic can operate a little different, just like it does in Strahd. Even magic is altered a little bit there. It's very similar to that, where the setting changes some of the things we know or take for granted. The races are altered in the Dark Sun, and that may lead us to our third way to start, and that's the
Council of Elrond. You call it,
yeah. Just a meeting of some of the different tribes and races coming together. Basically, whatever your characters have created using the Dark Sun races that you want to use in your game, and then having those characters be this group of people who are wanting to change the political layout of the world. They're not happy with nothing they can change about how physically how it's made up and how close the sun is and how hot it is, but they definitely can change the way that there's so many people enslaved and there's races that are fighting amongst each other and no one works together, no one trusts each other. Maybe these characters are wanting to change that in some way. Maybe there's an item they have to get to drive away the sorcerer kings which rule these lands and control all the resources and water. Stuff like that.
Well, this is good because this game. One thing I really like about it is fighting over resources is powerful. Yeah. I mean, it goes way beyond quest for glory and gold and things, but fighting over basic necessities that really ramps things up. So that's an interesting idea. Yeah. Very gritty, very gritty.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's 3 different ways that we've come up with, and those are just basically, that we thought about in the last day or so. So it wasn't anything that we put a lot of time into. We know you guys can come up with better ones than that, but that's 3 ways you can start your players into the Dark Sun campaign.
And cut. Well, that's all I think we have time for today, Gonzo. Down in the comments below, if you will ask him the question, what campaign setting would you like to see come to 5th edition? If you comment below, we'd like to know, because we're kind of curious of where you think this might go. And with that,
class dismissed.
I'm a little shiny right here. You can be less shiny.
No, there's no way to make you less shiny.
Oh, dang it. Shiny, happy people, that's right. Is this table getting smaller or am I getting wider? All right.
No comment. That's Thanksgiving.
So